Welcome to the Middleware Tech YouTube channel. In this series, you'll learn about Hibernate program using annotation. Code examples used in the videos will be available on GitHub. Let's get started.
By steps, how much you can complete. Fine. Okay. Now, first examples is annotation implementation. So the same Hibernate program will implement using annotation. So what are the advantages that I don't have to create that mapping file? So we know that last day we talked about if I'm going to insert a Java object into the database, then I need two files. One is mapping file, another is configuration file. Configuration file, this is my configuration file. Its name is hibernate.cfg.xml that we have done last day. So this configuration file mainly used to provide, we have used last day, that is used to provide the mapping 1M concept, that is Java class should map with the table name and Java class instance variable should map with the table column name. But in case of annotation implementation, we are not using that mapping file. Last time we have used one mapping file here. Here we have used one mapping file. A mapping file name is emp.hbm.xml that we have used last, right? Now, in case of annotation implementation, you are not using this file because the mapping will implement with the help of annotation. That's why. Fine. Okay. So first we'll implement this. Right? So just see here. We're following the steps to implement it. Then I'm talking about moving next. I'll talk about some basic annotation first, and step by steps we'll in the upcoming session. Each and every topic is connected with some labs, and we'll try to understand use of annotations more. Fine. So first you have to create a Java project. Now this time I'm using some other class. Last day we have used the employee class. Today I'm going to use take order class or department class. So let's start. We have done this example, right? Now here, first I have to create one project. Right click, new Java project. Hibernate demo 2, right? Okay. Now here, as we know that first we have to add the jar. Fine. So add, right click, properties, Java build path. We'll add all the jar that is available in the required folder, as well as this JDBC driver also. Second is that we have to create a simple Java class. Today I'm not using employee. Let's take some other class. DEPT, department. Okay. So right click, new class, some package as pp. Class name is dept.java. dept.java. And it's a simple bean class. Private int dept id, private string dept name, private string dept location. Just 3 instance variables is there inside the class. Right click, source, generate getters and setters. Okay, done. And I can provide one. Right click, source, generate constructor using fields. deselect all, we should provide a default constructor inside the class. So this class is done, bin class. Fine. Now we have to add one configuration file. So I'm not creating or writing once again that same configuration file. So as you know that configuration file, you have to right click, it's an XML file. So right click, new, others, XML file, and the configuration file I'm going to use hibernate.cfg.xml. Next, and finished. And this CFG, I should copy the grammar, right? Header from the API. So if you go to that Hibernate core package, warg.hibernate, and go to this configuration file and copy the line number 10, 11, and 12. So this is the Control C. I've copied line number 10, 11, 12 and paste. Fine, done. Header, right? And remaining things I'm going to copy paste. Just don't want to waste time to writing all the things same. That things already created last day, right? So here the root element is Hibernate configuration, and the remaining things already have done last day. So same things. I'm just going to copy paste from the last project. These are the things under session factory. We have the different properties that we are going to copy paste from the last project. Same thing. Right click, source, format. Fine, done. So this is done. CFG file completed, Java class completed. Fine, next. Now here, if you see configuration file done. Now I have to create the client, correct? Okay, so create client here. Right click, new, class, client.java. Now we are not going to use the mapping file, right? Mapping file will implement with the annotation. So this is my client, and here the client.file also, as you know that first we have to use configuration CFG equal to new configuration. Fine. CFG dot configure, and is used mainly initialize your configuration file. Configuration file is your hibernate.cfg.xml, hibernate.cfg.xml. Fine. Now the thing is that now this time I'm going to load this configuration file, but from where this configuration file will get the mapping. Last time we have provided the mapping here, but this time we cannot use this because we are not using this XML, right? Last time we have used this mapping resource equal to this XML file, right? But this time we cannot use this, right? So because I'm using annotation, right? So how to do that? So what you have to do is that first you have to annotate our class with the help of some of the basic annotations without using XML file, right? So what you have to do is that we can use the first annotation is @entity. So when I'm saying when I annotate this department class with the help of this annotation @entity. Now this @entity recommended that now here you'll find that this @entity, this annotation is available inside warg.hibernate.annotations package as well as javax.persistence package, both, right? So from Java 5.x version, from 4.3 they have started. It is recommended that try to use this. Now you'll say that which package I'll use. to import, I'll use javax.persistence package or org.hibernate.annotations package. Which package I will use, right? So I'll talk about this later more detail. For the timing, I'm using this javax.annotations package, javax.persistence package. We use this at the entity annotation. Now the thing is that if I use this annotation at that entity in the class level, what does it mean by this? The meaning is that I'm saying that please create a table with the name department in the database DB. When I'm using at entity, what does it mean? I'm saying Hibernate API is saying that please create a table same name as the class name department in the database. Fine. Okay. Now, as per if I use this, it will work fine. I'm coming into annotation part. Now let me first through execution I want to show. Now in the client, show that is done. If I use at that entity, it will work. It will work. It will work. Okay. Okay. Now lots of things I have to use. I'm coming here. Now here, what I want to do in the client, I have now here when in the client, what I've done, I've created an object of configuration. Then I've loaded this configuration file, hibernate.cfg.xml. So this configuration file, how it will get the mapping? Because in the configuration file, you have not added the mapping, right? So here I have to use one of the property. Its name is mapping class equal to class name is pp.dpt. pp.dpt. This. That's it. Now I'm just in this Hibernate configuration file. I'm providing this mapping class equal to pp.dpt, right? So if you provide this, then only it will your configuration file will load the mapping between the Java class and the table that it will create in the database. How? Because I've used one of the annotation at that entity. I've used only one annotation. Let's see how it is working or not. Fine. Okay. And what is the other things I'm coming one by one. Now here, as you know that first you have to create a configuration object. From the configuration object, you have to create session factory object. Session factory SF equal to CFG dot build session factory. Right? Okay. So now we have to create a session object from the session factory object. Session S equal to SF dot open session. First I have started the session. This should also part of our org. Now here is starting the session, then I should close the session at the end. Not close. Fine. Now what I have to do, I'm going to insert one department class object in the database, right? So dpt equal to new. So I've created a department class object. Now I'm going to save this class object in the database. So what I'll do here is that first dpt dot set dpt id as m20. Fine. And dpt dot set dpt name. Just okay. And dpt dot set dpt location. Just write Hyderabad and done. Now what I have to do using session, let's keep it bigger. Session. So session dot save and dpt object I'm going to set in the database. And if I write like this, it has not gone to the database because it came under the department object. This is simple Java object that when I'm using session.save DAPT, then that's how our Java object came under Hibernate context. So that object came inside Hibernate context, but still now it has not gone to the database. So to send this object to the database, we have to implement transaction. So when you're using here transaction TXN, we talked about last day, transaction is nothing but it is used to define unit of work. Multiple operations you always try to put inside transaction or unit of work. That means either all the operations will be executed, else none of them. So that's why I try to put complete operation inside transaction TXN equal to session dot begin transaction. Okay. Starting the transaction, then you should commit txn dot commit. Dot close. Let me check it is creating the table in the database or not. Right now here in the hibernate.ch.xml file already I've used update here, fine. So it is create and drop. So SQL is true, so I can see this generated SQL. So let me check it's working or not. Right click, run as Java application. So no identifier specified for the entity pp.dpt. So no identifier is defined. What does it mean? Is that when you're defining this entity dpt.java, you have to take any one of the column as a primary key. So I am to use this dpt id as a primary key. Fine. So we have to use @id. With the help of @id annotation, we define. If you are using this annotation @id, that means I want to use dpt id as a primary key in the database, right? And you can use this annotation @column. Okay, fine. So I have defined this, fine. So let me execute once again. Right click, run as Java application. So if you see this, so here table created by the Hibernate API. Why? Because we have used this annotation, this property hibernate.hvm2dtl.auto. Because of this property, table created, right? Okay. Now, if you see this table, the table that is created, what are the annotation? I have used only 3 annotation here: @entity, that is in the class level, @id, and @column for department ID. Correct, right? So nothing is that, and it's created the table. Now, if you see this table, last day I talked about if Hibernate API is going to create the table in the backend. If you want Hibernate API to create the table in the length of an integer as 10 and default length of the varchar as 255. I want to change the length. Right? So what I want is that, and then I have to change the length for both the string. So I can use the @column length equal to 20. And for both of them, and to use the length as 20. Control C, Control V. Fine. So let me check. Right click, run as Java application. If you see, the length become 20 now. See here, it is not taking the default length. Right? So I can change the length. using @column annotation, right? Okay. Now here I have 3 columns. If I'm not using @column annotation, then by default it will take this instance variable name same as your database column name. Your database column name. If you see here, database column name. Your instance variable name same as the database column name. Instance variable name same as the database column name. Instance variable name same as the database column name. So right, and your table name, Java class name, same as the table name, right? But we can customize the mapping. That means I want my table name should be different, right? So in that case, as well as the column name also different in the back end. So in that case, what you have to do is that here I have to use one attribute called name equal to department. So this should be my table name, department. And column name I want to change for everyone. So here the column name equal to, I want to use DID, department ID. Here the column name I need to use name equal to dname, and here Control C and Control V, and here I want to use delocation. So I want to change different table name as well as different column name, and to change different table name as well as different column name in the generated table, right? So let's execute this. Right click, run as Java application. If you execute, you can see here, okay, tabular view does not exist. Okay, first time it will come, second time it will not come. Right click, run as Java application, because I'm using create and drop. So it will drop first, then it will create. So if you see here, so it will see here my table name and Java class name is different. Java class name is DPT, table name is department. And if you see the column name also changed, right? So using annotations, we can do this modification in the column name as well as in the table name, right? Now, if I'm not using @column annotation, use of @column annotation is optional. Why? If I'm not going to use @column annotation, then by default, Hibernate API will create the column with the same name as it is defined in the Java class, right? Okay. Now here, as per our Hibernate API specification, we should not use the statement like this. @entity name equal to department, because entity is a logical concept. Entity is a logical concept, logical name, right? But if you are using these annotations, then it is going to create a physical table in the backend, right? So as per API specification, I suggested that use another annotation, @table, like this. So if I write like this, then also it is the same thing. Then also it is the same thing, right? So as per API specification, it's recommended that please use different annotation @entity, @table, so that Hibernate API will create the table with the same name that you have mentioned, right? So that is the thing. So you use this approach when you create, right? So this is, if you see in this example, this is the simplest example. I have not used any sequence here. I'll not use, even I have not used any collections also. I'll come all those things one by one. So this is the simplest example. The purpose of this example is, this is the simplest example how we can store an instance of department object inside a table using Hibernate, and you find that yes, Hibernate can persist. Hibernate API can persist one department class object in the database with the help of annotation, and we are not using any configuration, we're not using any mapping file here, and we find it is working fine, right? Okay, so this is the things I have given. Now here lots of things is there, I have not added, lots of annotations is there, I have not added. I'm coming all the things one by one. So the purpose of this example is to just familiar ourselves how to use annotation, or how Hibernate API is using annotation to save an object state in the database. Fine. Okay. Now here a lot, if you talked about some Hibernate architecture point of view, let's see some points here. What happened when I see the session factory and come right? So this session factory is created once, and you're creating one session object from this session factory. This is one of the session object. This is one of the session object that you have created from the session factory. This is one of the session object that you have created from the session factory. Fine. Okay, but in your complete application, you can create multiple session from the same session factory. No, I wanted to create another session. Fine, you can create another session. Once you will close it, you can close complete things. Inside this session factory, I can create another session. So this is one session, complete things is one session, Control C, and I can want to create Control V, another session. Now the second session I have created, let's see, its name is session 1. Assume its name is session 1. Okay, right? So I want to mean that, 1 minute, delete. This is one session, session 1 dot close. Similarly, I can create another session. Control C, Control V, session 2, session 2 dot close. Right? So the meaning is that in the complete application, you can create multiple sessions. This is first session, this is second session, this is third session, and all the session you have created from the single object session factory. So in a simple application, we should have only one session factory object. But for that particular session factory, we can have multiple session object that you are creating and closing. And multiple session object created based on multiple user who is going to interact with the application. If 10 user is going to interact, or 20 user is interacting, right? So 20 session will be created under the session factory dot close. So under this session factory, you have total 3 session. So what does it mean? What I want to mean is that session factory is instantiated once during the complete application initialization, right? So that single instance should then be used by all the code in the particular process, and any session should be created during this single session factory. The session factory is thread safe and can be shared, I can say, right? Okay.